Hello, everybody, and welcome to my Ascension Messages. My name is Bobbie Richardson, and I will be your guide for today. So today I'm going to talk about the age of Aquarius. Today is the 19th of November here in Australia, and that is showing up as Pluto moving into Aquarius. So I thought this would be a really good time to tune in, and get some information about the age of Aquarius as that is transitioning into the age of into Aquarius. Pluto represents transformation, death, rebirth, that sort of thing. I also got a message from my team that it also represents truth, because it has an orbit. They showed me an orbit that was wonky compared to the other planets, and it was showing that something was pulling it, and there was an unknown aspect that humanity didn't quite know about. Another planet even further out that was throwing it out of orbit a bit, and so that's what they were showing me anyway. And that because of that, there was this unknown truth that was going to be discovered. So with Pluto moving into Aquarius, I get this message that something will be devoured. Something will be. It will open up us to a whole new era. And very interesting to note too that Pluto was taken or tried to be programmed out of humanity's consciousness by taking it out of the whole planetary system, solar system, and taught to school in the schools as not even, being a planet. So I actually walked into my child's schoolroom. This would have been about 15 years ago now. She's now 20. When she first started school, and they had all the planets lined up on the board, and then they had planet Pluto with big X through it. And I was just horrified. I was like, what? How can you make a decision like that? It's just crazy. Anyways, so it was trying to be programmed out of the children. So of course I brought it back into my kids' awareness. And it's really valuable to understand that, because there is an important energy that is aligned with Pluto, and that importance was something that they were trying to stop the transit of. They were trying to stop us. They thought that they could play God, so to speak, where they are. They're playing against themselves, really. Would never work in that respect. Okay, so I got a whole heap of information, and I also got my team told me to look up a few things as well. So I'm going to bring up what information I got through, and I'll tell you what information's channeled, and what information I'll try to remember to tell you what information's channeled and what's not channeled, what's actually I found on the internet as well. Hey, everyone in the chat bar. Hi, Nick. Good to see you. Blessings, Bobbie. Such a wonderful way to start the day with the energy of Aquarius. I can feel the lightness of air. So good. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Jeannie. Hi, Javier and Gio. Good to see you in the chat bar. Okay, let's get into the age of Aquarius. So first of all, they brought me to the awareness of the 52,000-year cycle split into two, which was 26,000 years. And then about 156,000 years, 156 years for each zodiac sign, moving us from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. So what does this mean? This is what I asked my team when I found this out. I'm like, what does this even mean? They were showing me a spiral like this, yin yang, but it was kind of like one was going one way and one was going the other way. And they were showing me that everything within is without. They were showing me the Fibonacci sequences, the fractals that move, and that we are within, but there is different cycles that are enveloping us, where the zodiac signs seem to move this way, and then you go further out and it moves this way, and all of this sort of thing. So that was really interesting. I was going, okay, so we've got this thing happening that switches over. And they said they started talking about Pisces first. So we're coming from the age of Pisces. which is represented by the two fish. And I wrote this stuff down as I was channeling it through. Pisces was about the devotion and idealism to our outside world, but also awakening the imagination still ruled by our emotions, bringing everything to the forefront to purge that which we don't want to ground into this world. Pisces is ruled by Neptune, a mysterious planet of dreams and the imagination. This gave us time to reawaken our imagination and practice what we want to focus on and ground, experimenting with that which doesn't serve us. So we went through moments in time that didn't serve us, but it showed us what we didn't actually want. Okay. The two fish swimming like a yin yang symbol gave rise to finding balance within oneself and not to swim away from problems, but learning to move through them so that we can find the power within to navigate life by knowing our fullest potential and power. So we're coming to the end of this cycle. So this is what we're really ramping up with. And they show me like it's always been those, in and out of all of that, where humanity is learning to use their imagination, and whatever we focus in on, we start to ground anyway automatically. But because we were using our emotions, and it was being used against us as well, we weren't taking the power back through that transition. We ended up creating things that were really out of balance and wonky. So it's actually meant to be like that. And I think Aries was before that. So Aries was all about these gods of war and gods of power and all of that sort of thing. So then we transitioned to Pisces. It's been a movement from one sort of power to learning about another power within ourselves. We're learning a lot more about ourselves if you see the picture as an overall transit of these planets aligning. I am not an astrologist, by the way. This is just what my team brought me through at the moment. They found it was important to bring this up in this moment. So I don't follow astrology at all. I'm just giving you either most of this is channeled from them, and there's snippets in there that I were led to of a video that I saw, but most of it, I would hear one line and then they would just pour through all of this information. So this is pretty much channeled information. So then we went into the sign Aquarius. They said Aquarius is a sign represented by a water barrier. They took me to the tarot deck and they showed me the tarot deck of the water barriers. And also Aquarius, not the tarot, zodiac sign of a water barrier. But they showed me that in the star of as well. So yeah, anyways, it was both. So Aquarius is a sign represented by water, a water barrier with 1 foot in the water and 1 foot on land. And this was really important, giving us the energy of learning to ground our dreams into this physical world and temper our emotions to serve us instead of ruling us. Stepping carefully through life so not to lose one's balance between the etherical and physical worlds. We are now moving through life from the approach of living in the moment, as we need to be in the moment to pour the stories we want onto this plane of existence, because it's a water barrier. I'm literally getting shivers, like goosebumps there. Water barrier is pouring these stories onto this plane of existence, this reality, and this is our chance to use what we've learned in the past of what we don't want to focus on and what we actually do want to focus on. So using our imagination to benefit us instead of the back and forth energies of the two Piscean fish that we had back then, unlike the Piscean energy, which was more self-serving in finding one's inner compass. Aquarius gives us the energy of embracing all outside of us as an extension of our own inner self, and so invites others of preferred choice that resonate to come together in unifying communities that self-serving for all. So that was a really big message there too for the age of Aquarius as we're moving into that. We are starting to find peace within ourselves, and then we're looking for the choices we make from ourselves of what's bringing us peace outside of ourselves. People that we can trust, people that we can lean on, people that we know, their promises are for real, people that we feel really entwined with, that we're on the same picture moving forward, even if they don't understand us completely, people that are still uplifting us, that sort of thing as well. Also, the Magician did come up in the age of Aquarius as well, even though the Magician is ruled by Mercury, which is Virgo, and Gemini. So in the age of Aquarius, those that are ruled by the mind but have control of the mind will actually start to become leaders, they're telling me now, become leaders, but they have to have absolute control of their mind to be able to do that. It was valid because then they become the magician of their world, because once we have learned to control our emotions and our minds together, we are now creating the world that we really want to create. And so, leader is one of those words I don't even like to play with, more of a guide or an example of how to progress in these new energies of Aquarius as we're moving through. So we are moving through this transient time at the moment. They brought me to the Mayan calendar. I'm going to bring that up as well because there was this 13-year buffer, excuse my voice, a 13-year buffer that was happening for us to actually get our shit together, act together, excuse my expression. Just let me have some water. Excuse me, right. Excuse me. All of a sudden I talk a lot and go from 0 to, I say that every time. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's keep going with this. So here we got big thinking ideas and merging of the physical worlds with our magical worlds allows for a physical world of unlimited expression, but this must come from a vibration of unity within, or love from or love for all, sorry. Otherwise, it will consume and destroy you. And that's the other thing that came in because of we're transitioning into the age of Aquarius. And as each planet starts to go into the age of Aquarius, it's like another up leveling. And so with Pluto, today's the date that it actually transitions into Aquarius. We are now going through this real birth and death of our own psyche, our own worlds, like things that are really needing to fall away and things that are really needing to be embraced, and moving forward into this unknown aspect, because Pluto does give us this unknown truth of value of ourselves that we haven't actually tried to move through life with yet, but we're learning to move through life with it now. And so we have to, say to our logical mind, you don't know all the answers. So let go enough for me to understand that I'm moving into a whole new game of trusting my own self-worth. So we've been in this transit of learning how do we worthy ourselves? How do we feel about who we are? Okay. Excuse me, sorry. Hey, Celtic, good to see you in the chat bar. See you popping in there, that's great, thank you. Okay, so sorry, I'm trying out a new mic as well because I'm going to be moving soon in the next month or so, a couple of weeks' time. I'll be absolutely moving, and then I'm just like floating because I don't know what's happening with myself, but it's going to be interesting. But I've bought all the things to keep this going. I'm probably actually going to have way more time to put into this, so it's going to be interesting where they take me. Right, and I'm no longer afraid, so that's fantastic. I've shifted a lot of fear, and I feel really good about the future, even though I don't know where it's going. Here we go. So It also says, I also channeled through this message, this huge shift will create massive changes, both external and internal. So it is important to learn to go with the flow and find trust in one's own power, that you will not lead yourself astray. Taking back your responsibility for all your choices you make and trusting the unknown so you can learn to create something brand new. Yeah, there was also earlier on a couple of messages that came through as well. One was you are being put in a position at the moment that will test your resolve for the future, so you know your power to fulfill your mission. All of these are things are happening because of this. We're coming to the end of a 13-year cycle that the Mayan calendar brought up. So they were talking about this 13-year cycle, and I am guessing it's coming from the start of 2012 when they said this will start shifting. So that means it's 2012 through to 2025, 2026, around that time, because I think it was December 2012. Yeah, so now lots would have happened with us through that, and starting to teach us our true empowerment doesn't come from somebody else telling us who we are. It comes from us knowing our connection to our soul even more and who we truly are from the inside out. And it doesn't necessarily have to match what the outside world is portraying, because the outside world is getting messed up and mucked up and all of that anyway. It's all falling apart and churning and changing so much at the moment, that there's nothing to really grasp or hold on to. Even laws and that are being shifting so fast and so much because they can't keep up with the energy flows that's actually coming from the sun and the central solar system, central galaxy. It's because the central galaxy is an opening or a vortex for source energy to come in and shift all planetary alignments and star alignments, but the stars are also portals as well for source energy to come through for the actual solar system that's operating around that sun or that star. So each single star is emitting a different frequency or energy alignment for those planets that are transitioning around or orbiting around to shift in a specific way, which is in alignment with more truth to acknowledging self as soul energy in a physical plane of existence. So we are all transmuting, where everything is changing. It's not just us, is that actually everything. And that is the big orbit. They're showing me the big orbit, 52,000 year cycle, 26,000 year cycle, something to do with that. Interesting that they're taking me that far out. But it's all relevant to the inner journey that we're taking within ourselves. Well, we are literally going through a death while we are alive. And so many changes will have to happen. And those that cannot handle the changes are going to find it, if they try to hold on to a limited concept of themselves and think that that's a safety net, it's going to really shake. The more that they hold on, the more that it shakes. They're showing me it's shaking and vibrating even more, kind of like if you're standing in the middle of an earthquake, right? They're asking you to shift and flow with that. Oh, it's starting to shake here. Okay, I need to move over here. I need to look at myself. I need to let go of this stuff. I need to trust where I'm actually going. All those people that are supposed to align will all align in the end anyway. So be free through this. Be free. Let the change evolve. You will never lose somebody that is supposed to be in your life anyway in the end, and they could just shift so that they are meant to be in your life in a different way in the future. So you will come back together no matter what, if that is a soul alignment that is supposed to be for the growth of yourself and your evolution of your soul moving forward. But the more that you try to hold on to something at the moment, the more it's just going to feel really icky. It's not going to feel good. It's going to feel really so this is part of this whole moving into this age of Aquarius, because we're if we hold on to that Piscean energy, and the outer world being more important than our inner feelings, and not being able to handle our imagination and allowing our emotions to rule us too much in the retrospective. I imagine this to come forward. My emotions are getting the benefit of me because of my fear that I'm holding on to a past event that's happened. And so it's turning or twisting the imagination into an icky place. So that's what's shifting within us at the moment. That's what they're showing is shifting within us at the moment, so that we can go, no, you are the observer also of your reality as you're creating it. And so you're allowed to say no to certain aspects that keep pulling through, or threads that pull through from the past that didn't serve you then, so they're never going to serve you in the future. So that transient that's happening is giving us an opportunity of vastness, of freedom, because we're learning to control how our imagination and our focus on that imagination is placed into creating what we actually want, and self-serving us, and aligning us with the extension of our outside world as being part of the extension of our inner world. That sort of thing too is happening. So they brought me to the Mayan prophecy as well. The Mayan prophecy, they started off as a 13-year warning before change had happened. I started to get some channel messages about this Mayan prophecy as well. So I'm going to go through it. I might even write up after this to do, because this all just happened just before I went to go live. So they're like, look at that. So yeah, the first prophecy was 13-year warning before change was going to happen. So that's bringing us to 2025, 2026 in my books. That's what I was told. And I'm feeling we're coming right to the end, obviously, of that every person in their own is their own mirror to find their own multidimensional nature within themselves. And that was part of the prophecy. And it totally makes sense with all of the channel messages that I have been receiving over the years, that we are our own mirror reflection to finding our own multidimensional nature. So we're not just living in the physical world, we're learning to bring in the aspects of our soul and what that actually means to us, because it awakens us to a whole new vast world of magic and everything coming into alignment of that. So you are now learning to bring through the multi-dimensions of yourself. And that is a natural nature. It's always been there. It's always existed. It's just that you've had a lot of blockages through the logical mind taking over. Yeah. And then the second one was, answers are inside man, that our behavior determines our future. Man will find a new way of looking at life. Two paths. There will be a path of fear and a path of understanding, and both paths can take you to this shift in up-leveling you, because when you go to the path of fear, you get so much resistance within yourself that you will flip into, I need to release this, I need to let this go, I can't keep doing this, I can't keep holding on to this anymore. So, and then the path of understanding is just, oh, I'm using the fear now to understand my true essence of nature, of who I am. I am opening up to a whole new me, bringing through my soul's awareness and all of that sort of stuff. So that's number two. The third one said, center of the galaxy affects our sun, so increased activity will happen on the earth. Man must become aware of their imbalance within the earth. So they even bring up the central galaxy and their sun's effect. I've brought up the sun's effects many times, and the central galaxy every now and then too, in my channeled messages. So it's like really interesting, because I've not looked at this before. So it's really cool that it's lining up with a lot of what I've been channeling through. And yeah, to do with man must become aware of their imbalance with Earth, meaning that Earth herself is going through a change as well. And she's accepting man, but only the man that is with imbalance, because that's all she can accept. She's shifting into a high vibe of balance with man as well. So humans have to come into alignment of their own self-awareness, and these energies are changing us from within and without and outside of us. So you could see it from both true values of the sun as an aspect of source energy, or the soul, bringing you new energy of awareness, or you could go within yourself and seeing yourself opening up to your soul's understanding of wisdom, and that also is exactly the same. It's just that we're seeing it either from the inner world and expanding ourselves, or the outer world shifting us through new vibrations coming towards us in our physical essence. So both sides, logical and intuitive sides of ourselves, is now coming into awareness that it is exactly the same. It's a mirror to ourselves. Really interesting little bit of channel message there too. So then they go into the fourth one was man must adjust to living in harmony with the natural cycles of life. And we're talking about natural cycles as in death and rebirth and all that sort of thing, instead of holding on to life to, we're, trying to extend our life, and we're not actually growing, we're not evolving. The death is the procrastination, the not evolving. That is the death. When we're stagnant, that is the death. It's not anything to do with actually moving from this body, physical body, into a etherical world, and learning a lot more about ourselves and evolving that way. It's not to do with leaving this avatar. It's to do with being stuck, and that is, and so you could never really. Death is just a transformation, and that's what Pluto is bringing us about as well. Whether your soul evolves by leaving this physical plane of existence and evolves into a higher frequency or understanding of oneself outside of this, or whether you stay alive and you are going through it anyway, it's going to feel like a death of lots of things falling away from you. So we have to go through that natural cycle and embrace it, see it as the tree that is self-nurturing, the Taurus field that's self-nurturing always. It's when it was one-sided, and it stopped us, because just they're showing me that beetle. They often show me the beetle that's only got one wing that's put to sleep, and then the other wing will just fly around in circles. It doesn't get anywhere. It doesn't have the freedom to fly in all directions anymore. It just keeps going around in circles, and that's literally what humanity has been stuck in with through that Piscean age. But it was meant to be for a purpose, because if we weren't in that state of awareness, then when we moved through that, we would have mucked up a lot of more things, because we were learning how to use our imagination to ground our imagination in this physical world. We were learning a lot about ourselves through that. So we dipped and dived through wars and stuff like that, and fighting and all that sort of thing. We saw everything only from a perspective of outside ourselves. So we're kind of caught in a holding cell of the matrix, just so that we could learn that. It's kind of like putting a baby in a baby's pen for a while, just so that it can learn about its body and itself and how to work in this physical plane of existence. And now we are being let out. And so we have to be, but we can only be let out when we are showing signs that we can come into harmony within ourselves and learn the aspects of that we are love going on a journey, and that everything outside of ourselves is an extension of who we really truly feel about the inner core essence of ourselves. So yeah, that's another cool channel message that's just come through there for that. So then the fifth sign in the Mayan prophecy, systems based on fear affecting civilization will transform simultaneously with the planet, and humanity will take new steps towards harmony, learning to respect each other and galactic interaction, bringing peace as money falls. Now, that wasn't these aren't the exact words. This is what I just quickly wrote something down but it was the same message, similar message to what that was. So yeah, it's talking about, excuse me, fear. Fear has been ruling us up till now, and there's been a lot of systems put in place through the energy of fear. And that is because someone's trying to be the puppet master and controlling many because of their own fear of how they feel inside. They feel a massive, huge gap of a lack within themselves. So they're trying to project that and show others how powerful they are, even though they are within lack of who they really feel within themselves. So they're showing me puppet master. And we are now chopping the strings of that. So we become the real boy. Pinocchio is coming up. The real boy. So many of those fairy tales held specific key messages in them. I actually did do a video about a year ago on fairy tales and the messages that were coming through for me on fairy tales. Might have to be able to dig that one up and maybe put it in the box on comments. Anyway, so this is to do with all the systems that have been built through fear, because we are now not moving in fear, even though we don't know what's happening next. And an unknown aspect of us, we're starting to believe in the power of who we are as a whole, just as singular being, that we are all, and that we are everything, and we are this single avatar moving through life, creating our own existence. And so when we bring that through with empowerment, we start to lose, we don't need the fear-based scenarios anymore. So we're not focused in on them anymore, and we're starting to trust the unknown. So the monetary value starts to fall away. It's really interesting how this is playing with me, because all of a sudden I'm like made a firm decision that I was going to leave where I'm at now. And as soon as that happened, all this free stuff came, free rent, free place to put all my belongings, free, everything was free. It was just like boom, boom, boom. There was no money exchange needed. And my life is now like in this floating veil of not even using money. Hardly, it's like very little. So it's really interesting that this has brought up the fall of money. They actually learning to respect each other, and the galactic interaction bringing peace as money falls, because it was a outside force that was holding us hostage in a way of who has the most money, and who can be powerful over all. But there was no interaction of trust and love that propelled one's soul into an evolutional space of acknowledging freedom. So there was all of that was holding us. And so that falling is an actual sign of recognizing that we are learning now to trust in each other. And it was only because I got led to go on to sites that were, house sitting sites. People were trusting. Even the lady was like, oh my God, I have to now trust you. And I'm like, yeah, and I have to trust you. We're like learning to trust each other, but we felt it, and we felt it so good that it was an absolute. This is where I'm going for the next 2 months. And it was just beautiful how it all worked. And yeah, so interesting. So then the next sign on the Mayan prophecy was, and this one I am going to leave as an open vortex, right? Because it's a specific, and I feel it's a representation of something new coming to Earth. Okay, so take this with a grain of salt, but it says, A comet will appear that will place humanity's existence in danger, where modern man will change its trajectory, uniting us as a species. So it's saying that this comet's coming towards us, and man will unite together to be able to shift it. They're bringing me to a story, a true story of these lost kids that were lost in a jungle. There were 4 of them. There was a plane crash. The mother passed on the plane crash, and the 4 kids were left. And their innocence sparked a unification between the army and the natives. And the army and the natives had to pull together. They couldn't find the children until they pulled together their resources and started to work together. And they found, each had compassion for the same thing, for the children to be found. Exactly the same feeling I'm getting for when this unknown aspect, or this, I am hesitant to say it's going to be going that way. There could be also other things that are involved in this, but it's a story that can be told where something outside of us that's huge that will put us in a position of, are you ready to unite now? And I think that's more the alignment of the story, whether it be even something coming to Earth of alien nature, that it's going to ask us to unite, so we don't move through life as fear, even though something unknown is coming towards us. There's something going on there. It's a transient that's happening, and I think it's going to happen. And they're showing me 2030, around that era, or from between. It can happen between. They don't like to put a cap on timing at this moment because everything is in flux. Divine timing is the only thing that they can actually say. But between 2026 and on till 2030, 32, there's something going on there where big shifts will happen, where we're either going to be in the collaboration of unification, or we will be in a position of fear and worrying, concern, and control. And you will see your path has already been created by what you've gone through these 13 years from 2012 to 2025, 26. I'm bringing up 26 because there's like a bleed that happens as well. It's like when we see a full moon, it's like 2 days either side of that full moon kind of thing, where the energy starts to come in on you. There's still flux that happens between this. So good to see that they're bringing through some dates. They don't always get that, but they absolutely want to make sure that you recognize this as divine timing for your own soul's evolution and growth, and how you're proceeding through this. You can flip tomorrow. You could flip into this beautiful world that you've always wanted to create in the next month, tomorrow, next week. There's no actual, oh, we have to wait till 2030. Absolutely not. Do not see yourself in that linear sort of aspect, logical thinking of having to wait for specific years. This is a transient time, and you can be one that is a forerunner into the creation of what you really desired. Yeah, so through the age, it's the start of this new age of Aquarius. It's actually going to take us through, it's going to be another, what was it, what they say at the beginning when I looked it up, 2,156 years of Aquarius, right? So, and then we move into Capricorn. So really interesting. Okay, so through this time, though, there's going to be a lot more creating dreams and living more in peace and harmony, because we've learnt so much value through the age of Pisces, and now we don't see it as I wish we didn't have to, why do we have to go through that? it's more of a, well, I'm glad we went through that, because now look where we've gone, what's actually come out of this. You know, we've learned so much about the value of ourselves, literal learning to be living gods or source energies, every single one of us on this plane of existence. And they're saying every animal is, everything is. We're becoming, we're interacting with that essence of ourselves a lot more, so that we can, but we're still living in a physical plane of existence, so we can use it as a much more vaster playground. And so there's, being that that's so huge, there's nothing that could change now. This is already moving towards this, and it's just depending on your individual self, on whether you are able to allow to let go of the things that aren't working for you, and trust in the unknown that's coming towards, while holding your imagination in alignment with what you do truly desire and want to create in your existence, in your reality. It's huge. It's huge. Yeah, so that's really huge. Really cool too. I love it. Just seeing if there's anything else that's coming through as well. They did bring me to, in the beginning of the week, something that I might start bring up now to channel through. I do feel this has to do with the age of Aquarius as well, because we're going from a fixated position of only seeing things in a physical sense to bringing in a whole heap more. And it was to do with spaceships and rockets. So we'll go there, right? Since we have time. They said rocket fuel will only get you so far. And they also said it's not rocket science, and then laughed. It's not rocket science, and they laughed. It's so funny. I've got LOL down the bottom here. Not rocket science, LOL. Okay, so yeah, rocket fuel will only get you so far. Inner clarity and thoughts will drive you home. Riding the waves instead of the particles. So interesting, this message that came through, because they were showing me spaceships and the collaboration of the beings inside the spaceships who already had found the center of oneself, and in the clarity of oneself in these higher frequencies, and knowing where they were going, actually brought them as a group to a specific planet, to a specific solar system, to a specific, they had this interaction of clarity. And that's why in our plane of existence, where we're only dabbling in the physical world, we see them coming, morphing in and out, because they ride the waves instead of the particles. They're bringing me to the double slit experiment of quantum physics, where everything is a waveform, as when you come as the observer of that, when you start to observe it and you already have within your mindset of what you want, you now bring it into a practical playing field. And so if we're only playing with the practical playing field, we have to go through the story of finding the fuel, you know, digging it up, manipulating it in a through, you know, in a chemistry environment with science, and manipulating the fuel so it's all pure and all that sort of stuff. So the storyline is very long, and then the fuel is very short spurts, boom, you know, and then it's over, and then they have to like find out how to ride the practical playing field of the etheric world at this space, but then they're still in their mindset in a practical playing field. So it's really interesting when we go into the age of Aquarius, they're bringing this up, because now we're coming into alignment of our souls, which is an energy-based thing. And now with that energy base, and clarity of oneself as well, we're learning to be the observer of our reality, of our practical playing field. So we become we've learned to ride the waves. The waves are, everything is possible. in quantum physics double slit experiment, everything is possible. It's only when we say, I am the observer and I decide that this is my reality, that it becomes a fixed position and we become that. So now we're not riding just the rocket fuel and the story of how long that took to get that little bit of spurt to go on a rocket, which only took us so far. We're now learning to come into clarity of mind, come into aspect of ourselves that is in alignment with our soul's essence, become the observer of our life, and now we are playing the field of the waves. So that's interesting to bring up here now as well. So much information coming through. Yeah, just so much information. If anyone has any questions about any of this, I'll open the chat bar for any questions. Otherwise, I will keep going, see if there's anything else coming through. I'll take my Moldavite, see if we've got anything else coming through with the Aquarius. Yeah, the more that we expand within and acknowledge ourselves as our imagination as well as our practical playing field, the more that we're going to actually expand our reality and connection to other planetary alignments. The first planetary alignments that will come through with the age of Aquarius will be those that have already interacted with us in the past, mainly. There are going to be new ones coming through because this is a new understanding of ourselves as well. But the reason why they're bringing through the ones that have already had that playing field is just so it's a transient, like a getting used to. And our souls have already had an alignment with those. So we're talking Pleiadians, Lyrians, Acrturians as well. And you might find if you have a very strong connection to any of those, and Syrians and so forth, the dogma, bringing me to the dog stars, and the dogma is, anyway, there's a whole heap of others as well as the Anunnaki are coming through too. So they'll become part of our reality again, and different ones as well, which will align as we move through this. But we're talking about that span of 2,000 years as this progresses. And depending on your soul, whether you want to come back into heaven on earth, which is what the age of Aquarius is bringing through. You don't want to repeat that Piscean age, but you might want to still come back to that age of Aquarius, heaven on earth, sort of, so to speak, because it's going to be amazing. And then you will go through this ride of interaction with way more than what we even expected. If you do have a strong, going back to that message, connection to a specific planetary alignment, then you'll start to take on those aspects. In other words, if you're in alignment with the Acrturians, they're very highly sensitive people. You might start seeing vibrant colors and stuff like that. I know when I connected to them to create the portal into the portal of the Acrturians, I literally started to see auric colors, my smell sense became extremely heightened, even more so than when I was pregnant. I literally went through this a few days of, oh my God, I can't even handle the smells and everything that is on earth. It was really bizarre. I actually chucked out my heater. I thought there was something wrong with it because it was an oil heater and I could smell the oil in it. And I thought there was something wrong with it. I turned my face and saw these auric energies coming off my daughter, and it was crazy. And that was while I was creating the portal to Acrturian. That's just me tapping into it. So can you imagine what's going to happen when you start taking on the aspects of that soul lineage that you've come straight from, especially if you're a star being. So you'll start taking on those soul aspects if you have a close relation from a soul's point of view to them. Same with the Pleiadians as well. You know, you become more heart-based, more gentle, more kinder, more connections to gentle. There's a gentleness around them. They're very heart-based. They lead. They can handle their emotions, but they lead with their emotions. There's something to do with that too. Yeah, so there's a lot more going on here. Candace, I found out recently I was a Syrian, who was helping set up civilization in the pyramids, It was so long ago, there was jungle and reptiles attacked. Yeah, so that's another thing that can happen through this awakening, because you're connecting more to your soul, who has past information of past lives. All these past lives start to come up, and sometimes they come up so that you can clear something that you held on to as a fear-based scenario through that time. And sometimes they come up because they're wanting to show you gifts that you have. So depending, both as a gift, because one's either clearing you into more gifts anyway, or one's just straight gifts. Either or, it doesn't matter. Yeah, those connections that we're starting to awaken within ourselves, that's the expansion that we will start to have. And that allows for the energy to communicate more, channel more messages, all that sort of stuff with those off-world beings that we are really understanding ourselves a lot more with, because our vibration starts to meet theirs. And true meetings or real meetings or physical meetings can then happen or take place. They might happen just one-on-one. They might happen more than that, just depending. It might be, and I'm saying more than that, where there's a group of you that are together that have the same frequency that can see. And any of those that didn't have the frequency in that group will not see. They will move away. They will leave early. They will whatever. It's like a home that you're inviting people to. That are in same frequency resonance. You no longer fear, because you know your frequency. That's the most important thing. You know who you are, and that you can handle if something negative comes towards you. Yes, you might go through a purging of it. Yes, you might cry. Yes, you might, kick and scream for a little bit, but then you know how to get rid of it really quickly. The next day you'll feel fine. The next day you'll feel cleared. The next day you'll feel balanced again. Or the next hour, or whatever it is, but it's quicker and quicker for you to do this and come into alignment of yourself and be true to who you truly are. Yeah. That's funny, Candace. I told you not long ago to stop being so serious. Now I know what you mean, serious. That feels right? That's so interesting. I love it. Yes, if anyone does want a one-on-one reading, counseling, intuitive counseling and reading with me, then click the link below. Also, just throw that out there that I have a school on Patreon called AMAKEL. And at the moment, I'm throwing out a lot of intuitive telepathic games. I'm going to also bring in, I'm actually contemplating bringing it all into one tier. And because the prices have all gone up anyway, so I might actually just infuse it so everybody can have access to everything. I'm just thinking that might just do that. Everyone has access to everything anyway, because you'll be paying that same amount of money anyway. It's all gone up anyway. So because that was Patreon did that right when I'm just starting. Anyway, so I'm thinking, yeah, we'll see how that all plays out. But I have a feeling that a lot of changes are going to happen with me and everything, being that I'm going to be having a lot of time on my hands, right, to do a lot more with all of this. And it's taken me into something new. I can feel it. So we'll see how this all plays out. But I'm really proud and pleased that I got those messages through about the age of Aquarius as we're moving on. I'm sure that if I sat here for another 2 hours, we'd probably end up being able to channel even more. But, you know, I do have things I have to do. Yeah, cool, Celtic. I actually just did an elemental one as well, which is so cool because you go into the mushrooms and the psychedelicness. I really had fun playing, creating that game. They're beautiful games, by the way. And then there's just simplistic ones where it's dice or just, you know, coins and flipping of the coins and that sort of thing. It's all simplistic as well. But yeah, just go into the categories and you'll see beginners, intermediate, advanced, and then there's lessons, which was a new tier. But I'm thinking, you know, bringing them all together. We'll see what happens. You'll all be paying the same amount of money then. Okay. Beautiful. And it's not much. It's just a little bit of money per month. It's not a lot. If you want to join that school, it's going to be vast. I'm just going to keep on adding and adding and adding and adding to it. Yeah, it's only just started. So I think there's about 20 games and stuff up there already. And I'm just coming through with more and more and more ideas as well. So anyway, I love you guys heaps. Until the next message, bye.